Oh boy.
For anyone that just joined in, we're going to be waiting a few more minutes to let more people jump in before we get started.
They're slowly coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Must be that LA traffic.
All right, everyone, we'll get started in about 2 more minutes. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Daniel. I'll be your host today. I'm from The Arc. We're a digital marketing company based out of Southern California. If you need web video marketing, please reach out. We'd love to work with you. Today, we're joined by Wayne Gross, Business Outreach Liaison for the Department of General Services. And he's going to be going over how to do business with the state and updating your profiles. He'll be taking questions at the end of his presentation during the Q&A portion, so please sit tight. Without further ado, here's Wayne.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay. So let's see how this is going to work. Again, my name is Wayne Gross. I'm a business outreach liaison with the Department of General Services. I've been doing this for 14 years now. I'm the go-to guy. You'll see my email address, wayne.gross@dgs.ca.gov, and my team's phone number, 279-946-8387. And I am your atypical state worker. What I mean by that is you've heard the expression, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. And that is my philosophy. However, I guarantee that question will not come to you during my work hours of Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You'll be watching Dancing with the Stars on a Monday night with your spouse or significant other, and that question, that burning question will come to mind. Email me, text me, call me. Don't be surprised if I actually pick up the phone or respond to you. Or I may have to say, this is more involved, call me tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, that kind of. But I am here for you. So today's topics, and we got a whole bunch. We're going to talk about our small business disabled veteran business enterprise program, or what we call DVBE. We're going to talk about the three state certifications. We're going to talk about its benefits. We're going to talk about Cal eProcure, that is our website, registration and certification. We'll talk about keywords and UNSPSC codes. We're going to show you where the current bids are. We're going to show you where the completed bids are. So you can do a little bit of history. You can look at what agencies are buying what. We're going to talk about your new best friends called advocates. We're going to talk about the California Multiple Award Schedule, CMAS. We're going to talk about commercially useful function. Basically, what you say you can do, you do. We're going to talk about the emergency registry, and then we're going to talk about your profile update. This is in addition to our normal how to do business with the state, but I find it very important for two reasons. One is if you are not certified, this will get you better prepared in how to fill in the different squares, if you will, as far as your profile. And for those people who are already certified, you'll find out that you're not as prepared as you thought you were. And then we'll end it up with resources. So the state has two goals. We have a small business goal of 25% and a 3% goal for disabled veterans. In fiscal year 2019-20, which is 2 years ago, we spent over $12 billion, that's with a B, $12 billion, of which 23.7% went to small businesses, that's 2.8 billion, and 3.8% or 336 million went to DVBEs. Unfortunately, we don't have this past year's data yet, okay? COVID has put a real damper on us collecting data. But I can tell you as a DVBE, for the last 10 years, we have exceeded the 3% goal. We have three certifications: small business for the purposes of public work, and disabled veteran business enterprise. And we had this expression back in the 70s. It was called KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That is our mantra. You will find that the more certifications you get, the more intense it is. And everyone has mirrored our certifications because they are simple. and you can get certified as a small business, however long it takes you to fill out the application and hit submit. Okay, it can be that simple. You have to be independently owned and operated. You cannot be dominant in the field of operation. What that means in English is there's competition out there. Principal office has to be here in California. This is a California program. We do not want the riffraff from Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, okay? This is for us. And the owners have to be domiciled here in California. So you have to be a business with no 100 or fewer employees and gross annual receipts not to exceed an average, I repeat, an average of 15 million over the last 3 tax years. And if you happen to be a manufacturer, then it's 100 or fewer employees. There is no GARS requirement. For the small business public works eligibility, the first 4 are exactly the same as for small business. Independently owned and operated. There must be competition. It's a California-based program, and the owners have to be domiciled here in California. Now, the public works, we extended the number of employees to 200 or fewer, and the gross annual receipts of 36 million or less over the last 3 tax years. And if you are a manufacturer, you have to meet both the 200 employees and the GARS of 36 million. Now, do you need to get, if you are in public works right now, okay, do you need to get this SB, public works certification? Here is what I tell people. Hey, you can do whatever you want to do, number one, but realistically, what you want is, if you are a small company, you're making 5-6 million, if that much, and you got 10 or 20 employees, don't worry about it. Just your SB will cover it. It's when you start getting near 100 employees or the average of the 15 million over 3 years. Once you start getting to those numbers, then you want to consider getting the Small Business Public Works certification. For disabled veteran business enterprise, you must be at least 10% service disabled. You have a letter of entitlement from the Department of Veterans Affairs that says that, okay? And we need a copy of it. You have to own at least 51% of the company. And if you are a limited liability company, it must be wholly owned by 1 or more disabled veterans. And here's the biggie. The daily business operations must be managed and controlled by 1 or more disabled veterans. This goes along with the federal requirement too. The disabled veteran has to, they own the company, they need to control it. So Daniel, has anyone put any questions in there in the chat?
Not yet, no.
Not yet, okay.
Oh, there's just
Uh-oh.
There you go. Elena R asked, are you planning to change the rules for the LLC from 100%?
Nope. Matter of fact, it was the disabled veteran business community that wanted that. So blame yourselves. So the benefits of certification. Once you get certified, you have access to contract opportunities. You set up a profile so that the world can see what goods and services you can offer. There is a small business bid preference and a DVBE incentive. And then we're going to talk a little bit about this thing called the Prompt Payment Act. And then we'll talk about reciprocity partners. These are agencies throughout the state that honor the small business and or DVBE certification. What that means for you is more opportunities to put money in your wallet. So here we have the small business preference. Bidder A, who's not certified, has a bid, the lowest bid of 100,000. Bidder B is certified small business and their bid is 102. Just with that, bidder A should win because they're the lower of the two. But because there is the small business preference written into the solicitation, the administrator takes 5% of the lowest non-certified bid. In our example, 5% of 100,000, 5,000, and subtracts it from the lowest certified bid. So now he's at 97. So 100 for the certified, a non-certified, 97 for the certified. He just won, okay? And the nice thing is he wins it at the original 102,000. So it pays to get certified. And I never talked about the cost. It's free. You can't beat that cost either. Now, with the DVBE incentive, it can be up to 5%. Each solicitation is different. Every formal solicitation, with a few exceptions, must have DVBE participation. You want to look at the cover sheet of every solicitation and see if there is a DVBE waiver, okay? What that means is the buyer has done extensive research on whatever the solicitation's all about, and find that there are enough DVBEs to be competitive, okay? And if there is the waiver, I would contact the administrator and say, you'd like a copy of the history of it. It's public access, so he should be able to give you that information. Now, both the small business and the incentive, the preference and the incentives are what we call stackable. If you are certified small business and DVBE, you could get up to 10% in preferences, okay? So now we're going to go to our website, caliprocure.ca.gov. I highly recommend that you make this a favorite. That way you never have to type in caliprocure.ca.gov. You're going to scroll down to the 4 squares, and the top right one says Get Certified. And here is that page. And you're going to scroll down till you come to the prompt payment. And please pay attention to this, because this is only good for small businesses, not DVBEs. So here is another reason, besides the preference and the incentive, to get certified small business if you qualify as a DVBE, okay? It's because the prompt payment is all about an undisputed invoice. You turn in the invoice, and that's day 0. Within 45 days of an undisputed invoice, you should have a check in the mail. If it goes past 45 days, a fee is added, okay? And it should be automatic. If you get paid at the 60-day mark, you should have your basic invoice, whatever you charge them, plus a late fee. Here again, it's supposed to be automatic. Next is we're going to go back to Cali Procure. We're going to scroll down to those 4 boxes. This time we're going to find training and resources. And we scroll down till we come to resources to grow your business. And that bullet is our reciprocity partners. These are agencies throughout the state that honor our small business and or DVBE certifications. It starts out in the Bay Area, then goes to Sacramento, Yolo County, LA, and San Diego. And you'll notice that in my example, I've got BART, Bay Area, Rapid Transit, BART, and there's a line under it. And each one of those agencies has a line under it, which means it's going to take you to their website, their registration page. And on the right, it tells you what certifications they accept. So I'm going to click on that, and it takes you, it has your new user register to do business with BART. All you have to do is click on that register button and fill out their application, and you should get a supplier ID, okay? That number is how they locate you in their database, just like your certification number or DGS in our database. And we'll talk a little bit more about those certification numbers and how important they are. Anyway, as you scroll down the reciprocity page, you come to utilities. Now, let me mention something. There are 41 reciprocity partners. So you have 41 opportunities to put money, extra money in your wallet just because you're certified with the state, okay? Now, the utilities are not reciprocity partners. However, if you are a DVBE, you are automatically put into the California Public Utility Supplier Clearinghouse. And if you are woman-owned, minority, or LGBTQ+, you can get certified. And once you get certified with the CPUC, then there are 29 agencies that you can do business with. So there is a possibility of 60 other agencies that you can put money in your wallet if you've got that goods or service that they need. If you have any questions, the written instructions here on this page are pretty self-explanatory, but if you need more help, you would want to contact the advocate for the CPUC, and I'll show you where that is. Daniel, do we have any questions on this section?
No, not yet. Looks like JD got his question answered.
Ah, okay. Okay, next is Cali Procure. This is where you're going to register your business, and then you'll apply for small business and or DVB certifications. This is where you will search solicitations and contracts. It's no cost, and there's the website, www.caliprocure.ca.gov. And once you go to this website, on the top right is a button that says Login Register. And at the very bottom, it says register as a new buyer, okay, new bidder. And so what happens is it's 5 pages. It may take you 2 minutes to fill it out. You're establishing a username, and then they say, hey, you get this email saying you correctly registered, okay? And then you click the square, right? And it takes you to your website, and you see the email, and the system has generated a temporary password. And so under the password, it has the URL, and that's the login page. And so you put in your user ID and your temporary password and hit login. What happens then is it says that your login has expired. We have done that for your security because we're asking for your social security number or your last 3 tax returns, and you want to make sure that no one else knows your information. And so the system forces you into putting in at least an 8-digit password. And it's your standard one uppercase, one lowercase, one number, and one special key. So just kind of remember that. Okay, and you see I put in that and I hit change. And then I can go in and log in, okay? Now at the very bottom, I show you a little message that says, I forgot my password, okay? I don't know about you, but sometimes I just forget it. So you click that, you put in your user ID, and they will send you a temporary one. And again, to do the same thing, you log in using the temporary one. The system will say, hey, it's expired. Put in your own personal one again and write it down somewhere. So now what happens is when you go to your Cali Procure, it has here no certification record. You click Get Started. It takes you to the Small Business D2B certification, and you click that button. And here are the 5 different certifications that you can put up that you get, okay? And above it are the requirements for each one of them, okay? Just to let you know, if you are a nonprofit or a veteran nonprofit, your certification is called a registration, okay? It is not a certification, okay? And the only thing that you have rights to is the Prompt Payment Act. In other words, getting paid within 45 days. If it goes past that, they should be attaching the late fee. The last thing I want to talk about is the United Nations Standard Product and Services Codes, the UNSPSC. It is an 8-digit code, okay? And there are 4 levels. And the first level is the first 2 digits. The second level is the first 4. The third level is the first 6. And the fourth level is all 8 digits. We deal with level 3, where the what we call the last 2 digits end in 00, and level 4, the 8-digit specific codes. When you stick around at the end where I talk about updating your profiles, this will, I'll show you in action how this all works. Any questions, Daniel, on this section?
Yeah, so Guillermo Casilla asked, if you have a DVBE, are you automatically certified to the CPUC? Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. The one thing I did forget to mention, go to the clearinghouse and put in your supplier ID number and check your contact information and your federal employer ID number. Okay, any other questions?
It looks like that's it. And to everyone, if you do have a question, please be sure to type it in the chat box.
Okay, now we're going to talk about current solicitations and past solicitations. So we go to our homepage, caliprocure.ca.gov, and we click the quick links button, and we get a drop down. And the first one says find bid opportunities, CSCR, California State Contracts Registry, or right in the middle, it has the CSCR, search bid opportunities. Either one's going to get you where you need to go, which is at this search engine. There are 3 ways that you can do a search. Event name, that would be a keyword. Event ID, that is if you happen to know the actual solicitation number. Or the third way is by department. And if you notice to the right are 3 black lines, and you click it and it gives you a numeric list of all the state agencies. Just to let you know, if you look for Caltrans, you'll be looking forever because it's not listed that way. It's Department of Transportation, just like CalVet is Department of Veterans Affairs. So just kind of remember that, okay? And if you go back, you can also do an advanced search. When you click that, you can do a search by UNSPSC codes, service areas, or contract license types, okay? So I happen to know the event ID of a solicitation, so I put it in there and I hit search and there it is, okay? So I download it and this is what a typical solicitation looks like. It's got 3 columns. On the left side, we have the ID, we've got when it was posted and a description. So it gives you an idea, do you want to really open this up or not, okay? Oh, and just remember, when you're looking at solicitations, make sure that you are logged in. If you're not logged in, there are certain things on this solicitation that won't be there, okay? Unless you're logged in. And on the center, there is the most important thing. It says time and date when you have to put in your bid, okay? This is a sidebar, but I think it's important to know that if you can't be there, you text them, you find out that you can fax it. So you get the fax machine. At 5 minutes to 2, you start the fax and it ends at 3 minutes after. Is that a good, viable quote? Your answer is no, it's not. Okay, it's not when it starts, it's when it ends. So kind of put that in your memory banks. On the right side, we have the event package. We have the post vendor ads. We have view vendor ads, and we'll show you what a vendor ad looks like, or how to post it. Then you have the contact information. And this is the exception in that Mr. Fisher has actually given you his phone number. 99% of the time, the buyers will not give you their phone number. They want you to email them, and that's to cover your butt. Here's why. I contact Mr. Fisher by email and say, Mr. Fisher, there is a problem with this solicitation. And I point out what the issue is. And he writes back and he goes, Wayne, you're absolutely right. I'm going to correct it. Okay. Guess what? He doesn't. Okay. And so it gets awarded to Joe Schmo. So I protested. And so we're in front of a judge. And the judge asks why we're here. And I tell him. And the judge says, do you have proof of what went on? I said, oh, you mean all these emails? And the judge looks at them all and says, you didn't update it, did you, to Mr. Fisher? No. And so he said, this solicitation is null and void. You're going to have to go back in and reissue it. And Mr. Schmo over here, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to rebid this. We're taking it away from you. Okay. So for your protection, that is why everything is done in emails. We want that trail. Okay. A phone call, it's your word against mine. But if you have it, in writing, they can't dispute it. The next thing is the pre-bid conference. Caltrans is excellent in having mandatory pre-bid conferences. And if you're a prime, you have to go, okay? If you don't send someone from your organization, you can't bid on it, okay? And they literally, they have the sign-in sheet, and when all the bids come in, they check everyone's names off there, Okay. So why is this really good? Well, it's mandatory for the primes to come. So all the primes come, they have their meeting, and then Caltrans says, okay, primes, go to your respective table. And then you as a sub can go and introduce yourself to the different primes. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And, on all these contracts, there's, there's maybe 15 or 20 primes out there that bid on all these. So good way to get to know them. Put a face to a name. So this is the attachments. There's 12 of them, and you'd open up each one of them and read it and, do what they tell you to do on it. One thing to remember, the biggest write-up that buyers have in accepting solicitations for bid is make sure that if the document requires a signature, your signature's on there. 90% of the solicitations that don't meet the requirements is that simple, that you forgot to sign a piece of paper, okay? So watch that. The next is the application or the ad. And this is the KISS principle in action. You need to put your name, email, and phone number. How hard is that? You give it a title, right? And the response deadline, whatever the deadline is on the solicitation, and then a description. You are given 2,000 characters, not words, but characters. And once you start typing 2000, 1999, 98, 97, it counts downward for you. And I recommend that you always start out with your supplier ID, your certification number. Why? So that the buyer or the prime can look you up. First thing they're going to do, they're going to scroll down to see if you're current, or if you're within that time frame of having to get recertified. They may call you up and say, hey, look, I want to use you, but you want to make sure that you get certified today, recertified today. Okay. And then they're going to look at your keywords and classification codes to validate what you said in your ad you can do for the general public. Everyone can see your keywords and classification. The last thing on the solicitation are the UNSPSC codes. And if you have on your notifications page, wherever that is, we'll be talking about later. If you have that code in your profile, that is how you got an email. So now we're going to go back to Cali Procure, the home page. And, and we're going to click Quick Links. And the fourth option is Find Past Purchases. So you either can put in a description, a keyword, okay? On the left side, I had a guy call me up and said, Wayne, I just got this job as a buyer for company X. They told me that they've been getting state contracts for years. I can't find any of the paperwork. Is there a list that you can get me that gives all of our transactions? I go, yep, it's called Skippers. So either you put in your supplier ID or your company name and hit search. Now, there's also an advanced search feature there. And this adds the UNSPSC codes. And you put that in there, just like that. And either way, you hit search and you get this giant Excel spreadsheet. Now, you saw how instantaneous I went from one slide to another. You will not get that type of response. Once you hit search, I highly recommend that you go to the bathroom, you make yourself a cup of coffee. You might want to take the dog out in the backyard. And when you come back, hopefully the Excel spreadsheet will be up. I bring this to your attention because this goes back all the way to December 15th, 2015. So we're talking about 7 years worth of information it has to go through and sort it. It's a beautiful Excel spreadsheet. It starts out with the department, what department owns the solicitation. It gives you the purchase order, okay? Then it gives you the first line of the solicitation, the start and end date. It gives you grand totals. The nice part about that is you can go through and say, hey, I just want to look at stuff from $5,000 and more, whatever, okay? Then if the buyer, the person who won the solicitation is certified as a DVBE or a small business, they list their name and their supplier ID number. Then on the right side, the fourth column from the end has the buyer's name and their email. Now, I'm telling you the official word is they don't want you to contact buyers. They want you to contact the advocates. Any state agency that procures $100,000 or more must have an advocate. Okay. Now, here you've got the buyer's name, right? Well, this is for CDCR, okay, which is corrections. Okay. So I will show you where the advocate list is, and you would want to talk. You'd want to do you want to send an email to Michelle here, okay? You want to do a CC to the advocate, who happens to be Nina Martinez, who happens to be on this webinar. Hi, Nina. She snuck in there. Anyway, so the whole point is you'd want to, you'd have two questions. One, to Michelle. Michelle, you know, this is Wayne Gross. I would like to have a copy of the original solicitation and a copy of the winning bid. And here is the control, the PO for it, okay? And then Nina, are there any current solicitations that you know of the 35 state hospitals that possibly would have the goods or services that I'm trying to provide, okay? You're doing two things. Number one, you're telling Nina that you got privileged information of having the buyer's name, okay? But also you're showing her respect in saying, you know, hey, you know, we're all in this together, and you know, Nina's your go-to point person. So Daniel, any questions on this section?
So there are two questions. One's from Lisa. She asked, if you have a DVB, are you automatically registered as a small business?
No, they're two separate certifications.
All right, and the second question is from Sonia. She says, I am registered already as a granola company. I created an all-natural, non-toxic mosquito repellent. Since it isn't cereal nor a consumable good, should I register as a different company so I don't confuse buyers with such different products?
No, the way you're going to differentiate is in your keywords and your codes. Okay.
All right. Alan Song asks, how soon do the awarded contracts go on Skippers?
Once they're complete. The check's been mailed and they've closed their account, that, you know, everything's completed. And the buyer is literally loaded it on to Skippers. Anything else?
That's it. No more questions.
Okay. Next thing is the advocates. Okay. These are your new best friends. These are the people who are there to help you. Okay. Now, realizing an advocate, they come in all sizes and shapes. And what I mean by that is, for example, Nina Martinez, who has graciously on this webinar, she does it 24/7. There are other advocates that only do it 10% of the time, and everything in between. And so, be patient when you send out an email and you don't get a response immediately. Okay. So we go to Cali Procure. We scroll down to find training and resources. And under research and marketing, the second one says find a small business DVBE, and it takes you to the directory. And you click that button there, and you get this giant Excel spreadsheet of 235 lines. Now, you notice that there are some that are highlighted in yellow, and I'll explain those in just a minute. But I first have to talk about the small business DVBE option. That's where the buyer has the option of going into the database, and from 5,000 and a penny up to 250,000 minus a penny for IT and non-IT goods and services, and 5,000 and a penny up to 388,000 for public works. They need to get at least 2 small businesses or 2 DVBEs. You can't mix the certifications. However, if you are a DVBE and you're also certified small business, you are in both arenas. If I'm looking for small businesses, you're there. If I'm looking for DVBEs, you're there, okay? And just to let you know, from a marketing point of view, if I use you and you are small business and DVBE, I get to count you twice. Once for the small business goal and once for the DVBE goal. Now, 5 years ago, our director said this option was a bunch of bunk. What he meant by that is he has people like me going out and doing webinars. Normally, I would be in Southern California doing this in person. And, my job is to lure you into getting certified. So would it not be logical that I'm from DGS so that the buyers from DGS would use you first? Okay. And so we created the first policy. We dropped that 5,000 and a penny down to 0. So from 0 up to 250,000 minus a penny for IT and non-IT goods and services, and 0 up to 388,000 for public works. It's mandatory that these guys come to the database and find 2 small businesses or 2 DVBEs. You need 2 for competition. Okay. Now, you'll notice that the agencies with the first policy are highlighted in yellow. So who should be the first 18 agencies that you should call? Ones that are highlighted, right? Now, if you are in construction, you see column C. The only ones that you have to contact are the ones with the X in that column. Now, 2 months ago, Caltrans created a small business first policy, not for DVBEs, but just for SBs. Okay, and the reason that they didn't do DVBEs is because their goal is not 3%. They raised it to 5%. Okay, and so for fairness on the small business, they came up with the first policy. And there's a typo, it's 0 to 388,000 for minor B projects. Okay. So I've told you, who to contact. Now I'm going to tell you what to say. It's called the 30-second elevator speech. Your full name, your company name, your supplier ID number, your certification number, and what you do. You have 30 seconds to impress them. Okay? It goes something like this. Good morning, Nina. My name is Wayne Gross. I'm with ABC Fence Company. I'm certified as a small business and DVBE. My supplier ID number is 17529943. Excuse me. And I build fences, be it chain link, cement block, or wood. Can you help me? It was short, sweet, and to the point, and within 30 seconds, even with the sneeze. Okay. So the important thing is I've given her everything that she needs to know. Okay. Now, did you notice that I slowed down when I gave her my supplier ID number? The reason being is all of the advocates on that list have been trained by either me or my peers in the 30-second elevator speech. They have been told that if their phone rings, to assume it's a small business going to give them the 30-second elevator speech. So they should have a piece of paper and pencil around so that they can write down the supplier ID number. Okay. So now, I'm just happy that I saw Nina's name come up. Okay. Because what we want you to become when you grow up is a professional stalker. What do I mean by that? Okay, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And so if you're going to be dealing with certain agencies a lot, okay, you want to get to know them, and so you want to promote yourself to the point where, they come, you go to an event and they can come up to you and you say, "Hi, this is Wayne. Nina, how are you? We finally get to meet." Okay. That kind of thing. It's building those relationships. Okay. So now I've given you a list of who to contact. I've told you what to say. Now we're going to end it with a resume. It's called a capabilities statement. And so if you go to Google and type in capabilities statement examples, you'll get these images, okay? This is all public access, right? And so you can steal other people's work, okay? And so what I've done is I have this one here. And the first thing is on the top right, I call it a capabilities plural statement. Why? Because when you read that first paragraph, he's got more than one capability. Okay, that's my little pet peeve. Okay, there are 3 rules. Number 1, 1 page. It can be double-sided. Number 2, make sure you put your supplier ID number, your certification number. And you'll see on the bottom right, he's got one. He's got several of them. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. And the third is the UNSPSC codes. Those are on the left side. And it's the parent codes with their descriptions. Okay. Now, let's go back to the certifications. Remember, I said that when you got reciprocity partners, that you got supplier ID numbers, and those supplier ID numbers identify you in their database. And so put them on your capability statement, okay? And you'll notice at the very bottom, he's got a CMAS contract. We'll talk about CMAS here in a minute, but in other words, he's giving the buyer, the advocate, information that they can go back and send off to their buyers, so that if they're looking for whatever you're trying to sell, hey, here's your capability statement right here in hand. Okay. Now, these reciprocity partners, a lot of them don't use the UNSPSC codes. They use the NAICS codes, the North America Industry Classification System. That's the federal codes. And so you'll notice to the right of the UNSPSC codes on the right side, you've got the NAICS codes, you've got the codes and their description. You always want to put that because you don't know who you're giving that capability statement to. Giving it to someone like me who deals with it all the time, I know a lot of the codes. But if nothing else, just reading, an 8-digit code and then what it is going to help everyone. And so I am offering my services to you for free. You've got my email. Send me a copy of your capability statement and I will correct it. I like using my red pen. I'm here to help you. Okay. So, Daniel, any questions on this section?
Nope, not currently.
Okay. So, next we go to Cali Procure, okay? And we're gonna go down here and to get certified. Oh my God. Okay. And inside state contracting, the second one says, learn about acquisitions. Okay. And this is what the flyer looks like. And I highly recommend that you print out a copy of this. And it talks about the 3 ways that contracts are exempt from advertising. The first is the small business DVBE first and option. That's where you contact the advocate to find out what's out there that's not being posted. If it's under $10,000, there are modes where they don't have to post them. They only have to do one, okay? And then the third is the emergency purchases, and we'll be talking about that with the small business DVBE emergency registry at the end. On the right side are leverage procurement agreements. There are several of them. The biggest one that I want to talk about, there's statewide contracts and other IT things. But the one I want to talk about now is the California Multiple Award Schedule. And the reason I talk about this is very important. Your state certification is good for state agencies. It's your foot in the door to get reciprocity partners. Your CMAS is good for state agencies, reciprocity partners, and listen to these options, people, cities, counties, school districts, community colleges, the UC and the CSU systems. Okay, now, what is CMAS? Okay, it mirrors the federal program of the GSA, General Services Administration. Their application is between 125 and 150 pages. And I was corrected yesterday in that it can take up to a year for the feds to approve it. Our program is 5 pages. You can get approved within 24 hours. But here's the gotcha. It says you have to have a GSA schedule. It doesn't say it has to be your own. And so if you copy that email down, cmas@dgs.ca.gov, and email them and tell them what you're trying to sell to the state, a goods or a service, right? They will show you how to, here's the magic word, piggyback off an established GSA schedule. They will show you where the GSAs are housed in the electronic library that all the Fed buyers go to when they need to use the GSA schedules. So I'm trying to put more money in your wallet. There are exceptions to who qualifies for a CMAS contract. but let them tell you if you qualify or not. Okay. And if you go to dgs.ca.gov and put CMAS into the search engine, the first result is the CMAS program. You'll see the whole program right there and then. And if you want to contact them, on the left side, it gives you the same email, cmas@dgs.ca.gov. Now, I mentioned that on the capability statement that he put the CMAS contract on there too, along with his certifications. Those pieces of information are so important. They need to go on 3 places. The first place is your signature block on your emails at the very bottom. You put SB/DVBE, space #, and your number, CMAS contract and the number. You're certified with the CPUC. It's got a supplier ID number, okay? That's the first place. The second place is your website. So when someone goes to your website, they can go to your certification portion and see all of your certifications. And the last place is your capability statement, okay? It's all free advertising. The next thing we want to talk about are our dashboards. We have 6 of them: department spend, UNSPSC spend, leverage procurement agreement spend, top 10 department spend, top 10 UNSPSC spend, and certified small business DVBE spend comparison. So if you go to dgs.ca.gov and you put in dashboards, or previously if you put in CMAS, okay, and hit search, you will get the 6 dashboards. And I'm going to click on department spend to show you what it looks like. And it has on the left side the fiscal year you want to look at and the department. And it shows you non-IT, non-goods, non-IT services, IT goods, IT services. Okay. So it shows you, how much is that we're not spending on with non-IT. Okay. So, this will help you home in on agencies that you can use to get them under control with their small business DVBE spend. The next thing is commercially useful function, CUF. This is a big thing. This is done three times: at the beginning of the solicitation, during the solicitation, and at the end of the solicitation. Okay, it applies to everyone associated with a contract. Okay, and you are performing CUF if your business is executing a distinct element of the work, performing, managing, or supervising the work, performing work that is normal for the firm's business services and functions, negotiating price, determining quality and quantity, ordering, installing, and making payment, not subcontracting a portion of the work greater than expected by industry practices. This is what CUF isn't: an extra participant in a transaction, contract, or project through which funds are passed in order to obtain the appearance of small business DVBE participation. I like to give the example of, I'm a prime contractor and I'm going to bid on something that has mandatory DVB participation. Well, my brother-in-law, okay, is a DVBE, and I call him up and say, "Hey, Joe, you're still certified as a DVB?" He goes, "Yeah." And I say, "Can I use your supplier ID number? Because there's mandatory DVB participation. You don't have to lift a finger. I'll do your work, okay? And at the end, when I get paid, I'll pay you $5,000 underneath the table." Do you think that goes on? Unfortunately, all the time. So you want to be honest with all your dealings, okay? The second is not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid. On these large contracts in particular, the primes are now being required to send in monthly reports telling everything that they're doing for small business and DVB participation. Did they pay them a check? Or are they waiting till the end of the contract? Whatever, okay? And it has here, no longer used to provide the goods or services listed in the initial bid, okay? If a subcontractor isn't performing, the prime can't go out and find another replacement, okay? He has to contact the administrator, and there are proper procedures to which the to fill in a new DVBE. Okay, here again, everything's above board, it's transparent, and so everyone knows what's going on. Okay, so now, whoops. The next thing is the Small Business DVB Emergency Registry. Okay, now because of COVID and fires, we have not, in the last 2 years, met our small business goal, okay? Because they've been emergencies. And so the buyers, they try and go into the database and find, the right small business or DDBE, but sometimes it's so acute that they just know that they can go to Amazon and get it done, okay? Unfortunately, they pay probably triple or quadruple the price that if they could have found a small business or a DVBE, they could have done it. Now, here is the gotcha about the emergency registry. Second line, a business should not register unless they are fully capable of immediately providing the goods and or services they list. Here is some of the categories. And here are the things that you need to register. And your registration should take you 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Your certification number, your emergency categories, the description of products and services. Highly recommend you copy and paste your keywords, okay? Your business address and your contact information, both primary and emergency, after hours. It's a very simple registration. We started it in October. We now have over 500 registered small businesses and DVBEs, and we have over 125 buyers. So if this is something that you can do, let me show you. Here's the link to get registered. And if you have more questions, there's that link. However, I love our Cali Procure, because if you go to the homepage on the bottom right, says find training and resources. You're on there. And inside state contracting, the third one is the emergency registry. And so you click it, and it explains everything in detail. It lists all of the categories and just everything you need to know. And to register, on the top left, you click there and fill out the application. Under it is for the buyers. Okay, very simple. So now here are resources that you have. First, if you're a new business, you've got the Small Business Development Center, or the SBDCs. They provide consulting, planning, marketing, and access to capital. If you're an established business, you've got the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. There's one in San Diego, there's one in Riverside, there's one in Orange County. I mean, there's like 6 in the state, but Riverside and San Diego are your nearest ones. And finally, you've got SCORE, which is for newer businesses. These are retired executives who will help you mentor, okay? It's all free, people. So this is my normal place where I say thank you, but you're getting special treatment because I like to give you the full Monty, as they say, right? And so I'm going to show you how to update your California profiles. You have two profiles. You have the California profile that the world sees, and then you have the profile that you have to be logged in. It's called notifications. And so you go to Cali Procure, you click on login register, put in your user ID and password and log in. It takes you to your work center. And so then you scroll down and on the bottom right, it says, view my public certification profile. And so here is your certification number, your supplier ID number. You should have it memorized. It's just as important as your social security number and your California driver's license. So, and as I said, remember there were 3 places that you want to have that supplier ID number on your signature block of your email. That's the first one that's arrowed. The second place is your website. And the third is your capability statement, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the keywords. And I've got 5 of them. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to copy and paste them into a Word document. Pretty simple, right? And then I'm gonna return. And then I'm going to open up my my classifications. Oh, wait a minute, let me go back on your keywords, okay? We want a giant list of keywords. We don't want a paragraph. We want a giant list. We want 1 word per line. We want the singular, not the plural. And you don't have to repeat words. You only have to say it once. On the UNSPSC codes, you have the codes and the classification and the description. And you want to copy and paste those into that same Word document. Now, the rules on here, because it is the California profile, we want the parent codes. Remember, the parent codes end in 00. You see my 3 here, end in 00. We do not want the 8-digit codes, okay? That's going to go on your notifications page. So now we're going to return and we're going to go up to quick links. Now, I remember back in high school and college, not so much now or then, but now, plagiarism. It's a dirty word, right? Guess what? I'm going to teach you how to plagiarize because this is public access. I call it leveling the playing field. You are only as good as your competition. So steal their words and their codes, right? At least you're on the same field, okay? So you go to quick links, click the second one, find a certified firm. And you can either put in codes, the UNSPSC codes on the first line, or the 5th line are your keywords. 90% of buyers go with the keywords, okay? So I have 5 words, so I'm gonna put in each word, okay, and do a search. And in this, this was a real easy search because there was only 8. Well, one of them is me because I have that word in my profile, right? But it's got my 7 competitors. And so I'm going to click the download button and download the attachment. And it gives me an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to go over to column V, as in victory, and it says keywords. So I'm going to copy and paste, but this time I'm going to paste using the icon. It's an A on a clipboard. Okay, and the reason that you use that is because when you do your search, hopefully you're going to come up with 25, 50, maybe 100 companies for each word. And when you paste it onto your Word document, it scrunches it down to maybe 3 or 4 pages instead of 35 pages. Okay. So you're going to do that with every keyword. And then with the UNSPSCs that you have, that you look at the description of the keywords and put those in for your search. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to open up that Word document. And let's say you have 50 pages. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go through all those words and find words that apply, but you haven't done a search for yet. Okay. This whole idea is to get every word, every synonym, every word that you haven't thought of that describes what you do, but someone else has. Okay. And so then you're going to do a search, copy and paste column V using the giant A on the clipboard. And then you're going to print the 50 pages. Do a double side, so you only have 25. You've saved the forest. Then we go back to Cali Procure, the homepage. And what we're going to do now is we're going to click that little white triangle to the right of the user ID. And the third option is Manage Notifications. Okay, so you click that, and here is the Manage Notification profile. The first thing is the subcontract, and you want to say yes, and then you want to put at least one email in there. Okay, there is no limit to the number of emails. So if you've got 5 or 6 people in your company, you want to get notifications, this is one of the places you put. The next place is the CSCR, and here is where you put in a yes, and you put in an email, at least one email. On the right side is the service areas, and it says optional, and that's a bunch of bunk. You will choose statewide, okay? Now, the difference between this statewide and your California profile, let's say that you're in the LA area. That's all you want to do business in is LA County, okay? So on your California profile, you only put LA County. On here, you want every opportunity, and here's why, okay? I sell red paint, okay? But what I'm going to do next over here is I'm going to put in the description paint and do a search, and then I'm going to get results. On the right side are my saved results, my notification selection. On the left side are the results, and I want to put everything in the search results into my notifications. So I would literally check every friggin' one of them. Okay. And here, add selected, and it goes over to the right side. Okay. And so, as you see how they're all checked, and I hit select, and they come over on the right side. See that? Okay. Now, it is this list right here. And you'll notice I've got the parent code. You see it has 600, and then it has 01, 03, 05, all the subheadings. Okay. in this exercise, I don't care if you don't do 3/4 of that list, okay? This is to maximize your input, minimize time doing it, okay? So you want to do it all, okay? Now, here's my example. I sell red paint. In the search engine, I put in paint. I get the parent code 1234560. Red paint is 01, blue is 02, green 03, yellow 04. So I save it, it goes over here on my notifications. Okay, so I save it. You always want to go down to the bottom and periodically save your work. Okay, so a couple weeks go by, I get an email, I open up, it's for blue paint. I said, I don't sell blue paint, I only sell red, right? So I delete it, no file, right? A couple weeks later, I get another notification for blue paint again. Don't do it, so I delete it. That afternoon, I get another one, it's for blue paint, okay? I have 3 options. The first option, delete the email and go on with life. The second is delete the email, come in to my notifications, find blue paint 1234560, and delete it. I'll never get another blue paint solicitation. Or 3, go to my boss and say, boss, we only sell red paint, but I've gotten 3 solicitations in the last 2 months of selling blue paint. Do you think maybe we should start selling blue paint? Wayne, that's a great idea. Why don't you put in a quote for that? Update the California profile saying that we now sell blue paint, and I'll give you an extra $100 on next paycheck. See what I'm getting at? You're affording these opportunities. Or I only do business in LA County, right? And I'm getting stuff, let's say, that's in Riverside. Well, that's just the next county over, right? Well, maybe I should start expanding. I've hired 5 new people, and yeah, maybe we can expand into the Southland, Orange County, San Diego, Imperial, Riverside, and San Bernardino. Okay. And so all you have to do is update your California profile, but the world sees, okay, not your notifications, because you're getting all of the solicitations statewide. And so then what you're going to do is, after you've put, every time you put a keyword in the search results, circle it, okay? So with the 25 pages, hopefully you've got 20 or 30 words, okay? Anyway, so then you're going to download it, and this is what the beginning of the list looks like. And you see I've got the parent code and all the subheadings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to print out, after I've downloaded it, I'm going to copy and paste this download of all my codes into a Word document. And then I'm going to print it, and I'm going to highlight the parent codes. So now, let's say I've got, you saw in my original, I had 3 parent codes on my California profile. I now have 7 extra codes that I'm going to add, plus all of the circled keywords that I didn't have in my my profile. So you want to make sure you save this, right? And so now you're going to go back to the home page, and you're going to click the little white triangle to the right, and you're going to go My Work Center. And here is the Work Center, and you're going to scroll down to Manage Certification. And you're going to click on it. And the second box on the right says Amend Applications. So you're going to click it, and it's going to take you to the online application that you fill out. all 7 pages. And so it always defaults to the registration data page, which is the first page of the application. And we need to get to the 6th page, other. And the only way you do that is to go down to the bottom and hit save and continue. Go to the next page, scroll down and hit save and continue. Go to the next page, scroll down and hit save and continue. You're going to do it 5 times until you come to the GARS page. Gross annual receipts, that's where you put in your federal income tax annual numbers. And you're going to say yes, okay? And so then, as you see here, the registration, business owners, affiliate taxes, other, and attachment. That's how we went through each one of those pages. On the service areas, this is where you either put the entire state or specific counties you want to deal with. On the right side are your keywords. And you'll notice that you've got a word, and then to the right, you have a plus sign and an X. And so, in the 3 rules, 1 word per line, singular, not the plural, and you don't have to repeat words. Now, I've got light bulbs and lamps that are both plural. So I want to hit plus on light bulbs. It's going to give me, and I'll show you here. Excuse me. Where'd it go? Okay. It adds a line. And so I would put the singular in and hit the plus sign. And then it's going to open up another line, and I'd put the singular of that second word in and hit plus. Okay. Then I would go back to the plural and hit the X for the plural ones. Okay. Now, I like to do a real quick sidebar. Office supplies. I have never, ever heard of an office supply. Okay. So that's the one exception. So the way to deal with that is if I've got office supplies on 1 word, 1 line, I hit the plus sign, I type in office, hit the plus sign, put in supplies, hit the plus sign, and then put in supply and hit the plus sign. Then go back to office supplies and delete that whole line. That way I know I've corrected everything. Then I'm going to go down on the left side for the UNSPSC section. And here is, I've got 3 parent codes, so I'm okay. If one of those codes was not a, was an 8-digit code, I'd want a red exit, okay? Then I would go and click Add UNSPSC. And in the description, I would put, now, remember I said I had 7 parent codes that I've highlighted? I would put in the description in the second line on the right and hit lookup, and you'll get the parent code. And so you want to click that, that check mark on the left, and at the bottom you hit save. And then you go back and do that for add all the UNSPS parent codes. And then once you're done there, at the very bottom, hit save and exit. Go up to your Cali Procure and click the download and log out. So in review, we covered a lot. We talked about the Small Business DVBE program, the state certifications, the benefits, registration and certification, the keywords and classification codes, the current bid solicitations, the past purchases. We talked about your new best friends, the advocates. We talked about California multiple award schedules, the resources, and updating your California profile. So If you have success stories, we want to hear about them. custserve@dgs.ca.gov. And then if you go to https:// and this link, you will get to our Microsoft bookings. We are offering one-on-one training for state contracting, registration and certification, contract opportunities, and updating your California profile. And if you click on this link, it will take you, you either can click on the link or you have the QR code, use your cell phone, okay, and it'll take you to this, and it gives you you check which of the 4 options you want, and then it gives you dates and times. And it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 a.m. to noon and 1 to 3. And it has here additional details. It has here phone number optional. Please, I beg you, put your phone number. I've been doing this now for at least a year now, and people forget, they've signed up for the training. And so, if you don't get on board, in 2 or 3 minutes, I can call you and say, hey, you forgot to be on here. And either you can say, oh, we'll reschedule, because you can reschedule, okay? Or I leave you a message and, hopefully you do reschedule. So this is the final Q&A. Daniel, anything?
There are 2 questions.
Okay.
So Sonia asked, how do you add a new product code to your existing profile?
I just went through that.
Yeah, it's an old question, so you might have answered it for her already.
I did, yeah.
So the second question is from Lisa. How does a company obtain a leverage purchase agreement?
You would want to, if you go to dgs.ca.gov and in the search engine, put in LPA and you click on it, it will explain leverage procurement agreements and contact information, because there's different types of LPAs. And, there's someone that for each type, and you can contact them and get more information. Anything else?
Well, that was it. If anyone has any last questions, please ask them right away.
Yep. Again, wayne.gross@dgs.ca.gov. Thank you, Edwin. 279-946-8387. And Daniel, how many people are here?
There are 20 people.
20, okay, thank you. If there's no other questions, it's 12:34.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, so I think it's time to go to lunch.
All right, well, thank you, Wayne, and thanks everyone for coming. That concludes the webinar. And be sure to keep your eye out in your inbox for upcoming events and webinars.
And this will be on YouTube.
Correct.